Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
The Scott family here with Get to the Root, and we're so excited because we have Dr. Yami with us today.
Yes, hey, Dr. Yami.
The Yami's in the house. Y'all say hi to Dr. Yami.
Hi, everybody.
Yes. Dr. Yami is a board-certified pediatrician, health and wellness coach, author, and a professional speaker. She is passionate. She is a passionate promoter of healthy lifestyles, especially the power of plant-based diets for the prevention of chronic disease. She funded VeggieFitKids.com, woohoo!
Yes.
Where she provides information on plant-based diets for children and hosts the podcast Veggie Doctor Radio. She obtained a certificate in plant-based nutrition in 2013. She is also a certified food for life instructor and a certified WellCoach. She is a fellow of the American Academy of Pediatrics and a member of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Dr. Yami owns Nourish Wellness, a pediatric practice in Yakima. Am I saying this right? Yakima?
Yakima.
Yakima. I'm gonna get it right. Yakima, Washington, where she lives with her wonderful husband and two beautiful sons. So, Dr. Yami, we are so glad that you're here with us today, and she will be talking about 5 habits of healthy families. So, Dr. Yami, the show is all yours.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I think that's the best and most excited introduction with fanfare that I've ever had. So it makes me feel really good. So it's so nice to be with you guys today. And I know the Scott family, we've known each other for a few years now, met through Chef AJ.
Yes.
And even had one of your children on Veggie Fit Kids as the Veggie Fit Kid of the Month. So
yes,
that was really fun.
It was.
Well, today, I'm just really grateful that you guys have given me the opportunity to talk about my passions, which is healthy eating and lifestyle habits. And I'm going to be giving a presentation that is an interactive presentation. So I think, Faith, were you going to make it so that the screen shows my presentation as well? I think you went off the screen. But for those of you that are watching live, you can go to menti.com, and she's putting it on MENTI.com, and then put in code 786437, menti.com 786437, and you will be able to look at the presentation while you hear me speak. So you can open it in a different browser window if it doesn't come up on the live viewer. So today I'm going to be talking about the 5 habits of healthy families. And like Faith was saying, I am a board certified pediatrician, but truly my passion is nutrition and lifestyle. I love to talk about these habits because it is so powerful to help us live long, healthy lives. And what more do we want for our children? That's what we want for ourselves. That's what we want for our children. And so it's something that I talk about all the time. But before I launch into my talk, I want to know about you. So hopefully you've had a chance to log on to menti.com using the code 786437. I'm just going to wait for a minute here and see who starts putting in information. So what is your age? So once you log on, it'll start giving you options, and then you can just choose. Looks like we've got at least 2 people. There we go. Some people interacting. I love it. Okay. So it looks like the majority, so 67% of the viewers currently are between ages 40 and 59. I turned 40 this August. Seems like an exciting milestone. And the rest are between 25 and 39. Next, I want to know, how would you describe your way of eating? So do you consider yourself vegan or plant-based? Do you consider yourself vegetarian or pescatarian? Are you a flexitarian, reducitarian, meaning that you're trying to decrease the amount of animal products in your diet, not all the way yet, but maybe starting to dabble in it. Or you are an omnivore and you just eat whatever, whenever. Or maybe something else, or you don't describe yourself as any of those things and you don't like to label yourself. How would you describe your way of eating? So it looks like everybody that answered considers themselves vegan or plant-based. All right, so it's kind of nice to know who my audience is. I love this quote by John Irving. Good habits are worth being fanatical about. And that is completely what I believe as well. When I'm speaking to parents, I want to empower them. I want them to really feel and believe that they are the gatekeeper of health of their family. You're the role model. You're the trendsetter. You are the example of your household, and you hold the key and help to steer the habits in your family. And it's more powerful than you think because your kids are always watching you. So if you want your kids to be a certain way, you have to start doing it yourself. Whitney Johnson said, imagine who you want your kids to become, be that. That's exactly correct. So this is a free form, and it allows you to put in up to 3 habits that you believe are the most important habits for a healthy lifestyle. What would be 1 to 3 habits that you believe are the most important habits for a healthy lifestyle? And for those of you that just logged on, if you go to menti.com and put in code 786437, you can participate in the interactive session. So far we have food, exercise, and rest. I think somebody already knows what I'm going to talk about in this presentation. So very nice. Dan Buettner, which is a really amazing person that's written some great books on the Blue Zone, says, a long, healthy life is no accident. It begins with good genes, but it also depends on good habits, for sure. So the 5 healthy habits that I'm going to be talking about today are eating whole plant foods, practicing intuitive eating, or when it comes to your children, honoring hunger and satiety, joyful movement, adequate sleep, and stress management. Now, this may seem so easy and so basic, but we do have a hard time keeping these in line. And, just like life is busy, so sometimes things just get off track on the way you want it to be. So this is a good reminder to just pull things back together, try to focus. Maybe one of these has gotten out of line for you. What kind of habits can you start implementing for yourself and for your family over the next few weeks? So first, eat whole plant foods. I hope none of you are surprised that I'll be talking about this today. Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So whole foods are foods that are found in the unprocessed form, foods that are found in their most whole form, their form that's most natural to them. So an apple that you take from a tree, potato that you dig up from the ground, the leaves of a plant like kale, those are whole foods. They're unprocessed and they're without any additives. And when I talk about plants, I'm referring to fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes or beans and lentils, and nuts and seeds. So it's pretty easy. Whole plant foods, foods in their most whole form, and eat plants. But why? Why do I recommend this? Oh, and by the way, this is the power plate for those of you that can see my presentation, created by the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. And in the plate, they have fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes. And legumes are your beans and lentils, okay? So why whole plant foods? Well, there's 3 reasons. I like to keep it simple, so I either go by 3s, 5s, or 10s. So the 3 reasons is fiber, antioxidants and vitamins, and water. And fiber and water often work together. All whole plant foods have these things. All whole plant foods have fiber, water, and antioxidants. But fiber is so important to decrease our risk of chronic disease and even reverse chronic disease potentially. And there's 3 reasons for that. 1, it binds to excess hormones and cholesterol. So it decreases our risk of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. It increases satiety because that fiber combines with water and gives us bulk in our digestive tract. So it leads to decreased overall calories that we take in at the end of the day, but we still feel full and satisfied. And it also improves digestion. That insoluble fiber that doesn't dissolve in water creates bulk that helps keep us regular, which is also very important. And then antioxidants and vitamins are present in all whole plant foods as well. And this decreases our risk of chronic disease, such as cancer, even colds, flus, and it slows the aging process, which I know many of us are interested in. It increases longevity. And also these antioxidants and vitamins feel good. They give us energy. So that's enough reasons why we would want to consider basing our diet in whole plant foods. So I have a quiz question. So waiting for people to come on. If you want to interact, go to menti.com, use the code 786437. So the first question, this is a quiz. Which plant category has the highest amount of fiber per serving? Is it vegetables, whole grains, fruits, beans? So of those four, which one has the highest amount of fiber per serving? Do you think? So there's 5 seconds left to have everybody answer. Ooh, so it was a tie between vegetables, whole grains, and beans, but guess what? The correct answer is beans. So fiber is absolutely my favorite F word. Why? Because, like I said before, it removes the toxins, hormones, cholesterol, increased satiety, improves our intestinal regularity. So the more fiber, the better. And when it comes to fiber in plant foods, they all contain it, but some more than others. So beans are going to be your biggest bang for your buck, 7 grams per serving. In vegetables, you have about 4 grams per serving. Whole grains are between 2 and 4, and fruit between 2 and 3 grams per serving. So really want to get beans in as frequently as possible. There's hundreds of different varieties of beans. Split peas, lentils also count. Try to get them in every day. I eat beans pretty much every meal, but like I said, fiber is my favorite F word. Okay, so another quiz question. Which food has the biggest bang for your buck in antioxidant potential is the next quiz question. If you want to interact, menti.com, code 786437, menti, menti.com. So which food has the biggest bang for your buck in antioxidant potential? Is it berries, leafy greens, herbs and spices, or beans? 5 seconds left to answer. See what people say. Everybody picked berries, but guess what? It's herbs and spices. See who's winning. Skids, you are in the lead. Good job. Okay, so where do you find antioxidants? Like I said before, all whole plant foods, but herbs and spices are going to have the most concentrated amount of antioxidants, followed by leafy greens and berries. And beans are super high in antioxidants. I think a lot of people don't think about beans. It doesn't feel like this fresh fruit or something like that, but they're really, especially your darker colored beans like black beans. And like I said before, they're important because they help us fight acute and chronic disease. So I want you to focus on what you do eat for health, not what you don't eat, because we tend to be like, don't eat that, don't eat that. Nowhere in this presentation am I telling you what not to eat. I want you to put in your consciousness, in your brain, the foods that you want to put more of into your diet. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. Put more of those, especially in their whole form, into your diet. And it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Now, I eat 100% plant-based diet, as do my children and my husband and a lot of my family members. But it doesn't have to be all or nothing for health. The more you can do, the better. In fact, in the studies of the blue zones, people around the world that live to sometimes 100 years old or beyond in good health, they eat a predominantly plant-based diet, but they may eat meat a few times per week, a few times per month. My recommendation is if you can work up to 75%, that would be fantastic. Or if you can begin with 2 plant-based meals per day. And those that have chronic conditions, if you've already had a heart attack, if you have diabetes, if you have any of those chronic health conditions, consider going fully plant-based, whole foods, and see if it helps, at least for 30 days. This can help people with high blood pressure, high cholesterol. So it is something to consider. But remember, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And the more whole plant foods you eat, the better. And so here's my slide on keeping it simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. These are some tips for how you can integrate it into your life. So pick 9 favorite or familiar meals and veganize them, make them plant-based. I mean, you can pretty much eat anything plant-based, pizza, pasta, any of those things you can eat in a plant-based form, or go out and find 9 new easy recipes that you want to try, 3 for each meal. So 3 breakfast, lunch, dinners. You do not have to be a gourmet cook. This can be super simple. You can use frozen food, canned food, keep experimenting, and don't give up. Just wanted to do a quick word about supplements. When I work with children, but I'm also a health coach. If you're going to be 100% plant-based, or if you're over 60, 65 years of age, you really should be supplementing your B12. And the age is for any kind of diet, even omnivorous people. You should be supplementing your B12. My recommendation is for children, 500 micrograms per day, or 1 to 2,000, 2 to 3 times per week. The older adults may need more. Vitamin D in certain parts of the country pretty much should be supplementing almost year round. If you live in Florida or lucky enough to live, near the equator, you may not need to. But in some parts of the country, we need to supplement because we don't have enough exposure to the sunlight. Omega-3, DHA, EPA may be one of the nutrients that we're going to be recommending more. So at this point, I've started recommending it little by little to my families. I'm not like super adamant, like you have to have it. But if you are fully plant-based, there are vegan omega-3 supplements that are on the market that are great. So some of the products I like are Dr. Furman's Pixie Bites that come in powder and chewable. Complement is a great vitamin that comes in a spray. The spray just has B12, vitamin D, and omega-3, DHA, EPA. Or Complement Plus, which are capsules that has a lot more things. And then Omega Zen, which is a liquid also spray that's just the omega-3 DHA. And then some other resources if you want to learn more about plant-based stuff. If you go to my website, the reason I put Veggie Fit Kids on there is because I have a whole list of resources and I didn't want to fit a bunch of stuff into the page. So veggiefitkids.com, pcrm.org, nutritionfacts.org are great resources for more information. So the second habit, and one of my favorite topics these days, is practice intuitive eating. So for those of you, this is a great quote, by the way, hunger is the best seasoning by Ken Follett. Hunger is the best seasoning. One of those things that I've learned more and more about in the past few years. So for those of you that don't know what intuitive eating is, essentially, if you break it down, it's honoring your hunger and fullness. And this is something that we as adults often need to relearn because we have fallen into the diet mentality. We've put ourselves on diet. We eat on schedule without even paying attention to our hunger. We overeat or eat outside of hunger because of emotional reasons. So we may have to relearn these things, but most children are naturally born, knowing when to eat when they're hungry and stop when they're satisfied. When it comes to our own children, what we need to do is honor their hunger and satiety, not force them to eat past their fullness, and also not interfering if they seem to be hungrier than we think they should be. So like I said, it's been replaced by diet rules, external cues, emotional eatings, and parental anxiety, whether you think your kid is too large, too small, not eating enough vegetables, can often interfere with intuitive eating. And so we can sometimes cause our kids to unlearn some of this intuition that they have. So children are born intuitive eaters. Foster and protect this important habit. It is such a gift to be a naturally intuitive eater. So please do what you can to protect this. Never force a child to eat. Never use food as punishment. And please avoid using food as a reward. As a pediatrician, I tend to see the food rewards around here often, especially after shots. So I discourage that. I know it can be hard. We're so used to doing that. But it only takes a few times of doing that before a child starts to associate food with getting a reward. And that becomes emotional eating very quickly. And that's a really tough habit to break. So what are the advantages of intuitive eating? When we eat intuitively, we are less likely to overeat. We develop this intuition, this trust with our body, respond to internal cues, not external cues. And whenever you eat when you're hungry, food tastes really, really good. If you've been used to just eating whenever or eating a lot, grazing throughout the day, and you don't develop that true hunger, you may have to eat really stimulating food because your taste buds are not ready to accept that food if you're not hungry. So if you actually wait till you're hungry, food tastes so amazing. So practice that. Whenever you eat when you're hungry, it's also easier to stop when you're comfortably full because you can feel the difference. If you eat intuitively, you are likely to make healthier food choices simply because you're hungry. And whenever you're hungry, pretty much almost anything satisfies your hunger. You don't have to go for the chips and the cupcakes and the donuts. You go for natural foods and it feels and tastes good to you. And also, if you want to look at it metabolically and physiologically inside our body, whenever we eat when we're hungry, stop when we're satisfied, it helps keep our insulin stable, our blood sugar stable, and they've done studies to show this. So it really is a healthy practice to have. If you eat a lot when you're not hungry, you could have digestive problems, reflux, or that heartburn, abdominal pain, increased gas and bloating. This is what happens when we put food in our body when our body is not ready to accept food. It's like everything gets kind of stopped up. There's a traffic jam. It doesn't feel good. You're like, ugh. And you probably know what that feeling is like. It can lead to unintentional weight gain. It can also lead to feeling tired, sleepy, having brain fog. And these are things we, usually want to avoid on our day-to-day life. We want to feel excited and have energy. So really quickly, it's hard to eat intuitively and it's hard to promote intuitive eating when we're focused on dieting and we are expressing body dissatisfaction with our children. So this is super common, and especially among women, as 75% of women in the United States have been on a diet. So this is very pervasive. So I understand, believe me, with my history, I have been there. But it's better if we avoid discussions about body size and shape around our children. It's better for you too if you just avoid them, but especially around your children. When we talk about food, let's talk about it in terms of how it can be health promoting. Don't talk about calories. Don't talk about carbs or something that has too much fat or whatever. Talk about foods and their benefits, how they can make us feel, how they help us sleep better, how they help us do our sports better. And discuss habits, both nutrition and lifestyle habits, in terms of their effects on health and happiness, not on weight or body size or shape. So I encourage you to please stop the damaging cycle of dieting. More resources. The original book on intuitive eating has already going to be released in its 4th edition this summer. Intuitive Eating, a Revolutionary Program That Works, by 2 registered dietitians. And my book actually focuses mostly on intuitive eating. The Parent's Guide to Intuitive Eating, How to Raise Kids Who Love to Eat Healthy, will be released in the fall. Still working on that one, but I'm excited. That'll be coming out in a few months. Joyful movement is the 3rd habit. So time for you to enter. What is your favorite form of cardio or favorite form of exercise? Somebody already put cardio and I read it. So if you want to participate, for those of you that just came on, if you go to menti.com, MENTI, and put in the code 786437, you can put in your favorite form of exercise. So somebody put cardio, somebody put walking. Give just a couple more seconds if anybody else wants to type in their favorite form of exercise. These days, I'm really into stationary cycling. Somebody put walking and biking. All right, very good. And I've also done jazzercise before, which is so fun. Right now, my schedule doesn't allow me to do it. Walking my dogs, yoga and body weight. I started doing a push-up challenge recently, and my muscles have responded very briskly. Very good. So lots of different exercise we can do. But I want to talk about exercise in terms of joyful movement. Whenever we talk about joyful movement, again, just like intuitive eating, we're focusing on what feels good to us, not what we think is going to look good or change our body size or shape. What feels good? How you feel about exercise affects how much you do. If you do exercise to feel good, or if you do exercise to achieve mastery, to get better at a certain, skill, then you will actually do it longer compared to people that do exercise to get in shape or lose weight. And exercise and movement can come in lots of different forms. You might be a person that you like going to the gym. I love gyms, but now I have my own home gym. It's more convenient. So it can be scheduled exercise, or it can be exercise that you integrate into your day. So what are the benefits? It decreases our risk of chronic disease, including Alzheimer's, improves our bone health and our muscle mass, decreases mortality, decreases depression, increases feelings of well-being. Yay, who doesn't want that? Decreases fatigue and improves sleep. So exercise has so many benefits. Let's not do it just to burn calories or lose weight, okay? How much? For most people, if you can get 60 minutes per day, that would be great. A study just came out, I think it was this month or at the end of last month, that showed that even 10 minutes of exercise per day has significant benefits. So really, any exercise is better than no exercise. Dr. Michael Greger says that for maximum benefits, if we can get 90 minutes of moderate or 40 minutes of vigorous intensity exercise, then that helps decrease our chronic disease risk. When it comes to children, we know that little kids, they tire us out. They're bouncing off the walls, running around. We're like, oh my gosh, cannot keep up with them. So kids are naturally active, but studies have shown that by the time they reach age 7, they're starting to become sedentary. And by middle school and high school, they are sitting on the couch, they're watching TV, they're on their phones, they're on their iPads. So when it comes to media exposure, I recommend limiting it to no more than 2 hours per day. If your kids are under 2, they really shouldn't be getting any screen time at all, if possible. I know sometimes we have emergency situations, but for the most part, on a regular basis, kids under 2 should not have screen time, and those over 2, no more than 2 hours per day. And like I said, any exercise is better than no exercise, and more exercise is even better. Make it a family affair. Just like I said at the beginning of the presentation, if you want your kids to develop certain habits, you have to model those habits. Get into the habit yourself. Go on family walks or hikes, family bike rides. You can also walk to work or school if you're close enough. Put on the music and just dance in the living room. And for those of us that live in places where it snows, the weather is no excuse. If it's snowing outside, we had a horrible winter this year. I have to admit, I stayed inside a lot, but I used my home gym. You can take your kids outside, build snow forts, build snowmen, go sledding, go snowshoeing. As long as you bundle up, you can do it. Resources, I really love cosmickids.com. It has kids yoga, meditation, mindfulness. I'm going to be referencing it later. YouTube is a great resource for exercise videos. Some are really short, but just go out to your local parks. And like I said, put music on in the living room and just dance around. Kids love stuff like that. They love for us to be goofy and silly and act like kids every once in a while. You don't have to be uptight. We don't have to have everything really rigid. Just have fun and enjoy life. Adequate sleep is the next habit. So habit 4, Thomas Dekker said, sleep is the golden chain that ties health and our bodies together. So for those of you on menti.com, code 786437, on average, how many hours of sleep do you get per night? Less than 5, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, or 2 or more? How many hours of sleep do you get per night? Did I say 2 or more? I meant 9 or more. I'm like reading different things on the slides and saying those things. I apologize. Okay, just wait for a few more people here. And like I said, if you want to participate in an interactive part of this lecture, go to menti.com and use code 786437. Okay, so seems like the majority of you guys are doing great. So 80% of you guys are getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, but about 20%, 5 to 6. Now, there are some people that don't need as much. And if that's all you need and you know it and you can function great on that and feel good, then that's fine for you. So we know that we need to get more sleep in the United States. We have a problem with that. Sleep deprivation is linked to weight gain, cognitive impairment, chronic disease, cancer even. They've done studies to show that increases the risk of cancer, increases our risk of mood disorders, getting depressed and anxious. And in children, one of the things I see when they're not sleeping enough is behavior problems and academic problems in school because they can't concentrate, they feel irritable, they do not feel good. But there's one thing that a lot of people don't know about sleep deprivation, and this is going to shock you. So whenever when we're not getting enough sleep, even one night of not sleeping enough changes our blood chemistry so that our blood sugar goes up. So we have increased blood sugar. We have increased hunger. Our appetite for eating goes up, and that appetite is specifically for sugary, calorie-dense foods. So basically donuts, okay? What we crave when we're sleep deprived is donuts. And we burn less calories. Our metabolism drops. And because you're not sleeping as much, you have more time to eat. So people are hungrier, their blood sugar goes up, they eat more, and they burn less calories. So at the end of the day, people that are sleep deprived end up eating 300 more calories compared to people that are not sleep deprived. So think about that next time you want to stay up late and play games on your phone, okay? So it really does affect you. It really is causing you to crave more donuts. Do not sabotage your healthy habits with chronic sleep deprivation. So what is the magic number? For adults, between 7 and 8 hours on average per night. Now, there's some people that might need less. There's some people that might need more. You know yourself better. So you get the sleep that you need to feel rested. Of course, for children, it varies. The younger you are, the more sleep you need. But even for teens, look at that, 13 to 18-year-olds, 8 to 10 hours of sleep. That's more than most teens are getting. They're getting a lot less than that. So especially for your teens that are still growing and their brains are developing so fast, make sure that they're getting adequate sleep. I really like this quote from David Dingus. He's a sleep scientist. He said, repeatedly getting just 20 or 30 minutes less than the minimum recommendation of 7 hours can slow cognitive speed and increase attention lapses. Just 20 to 30 minutes less. So do the best you can to get adequate sleep. When it comes to sleep hygiene, I recommend turning off phones, tablets, and computers. So basically anything with blue light screens at least 1 hour before bed. And as a pediatrician, we discourage kids having TVs in their rooms because studies show that when kids have TVs in their rooms, they sleep less, they have more disturbed sleep, they have more nightmares, more behavior problems. So get that TV out of your child's room, have just one TV, common time, it's easier to control, watch it together. Sleep hygiene is also important to maintain the same schedule every day, plus or minus 1 hour. So if you usually go to bed around 9, you shouldn't stay up any later than 10 or go to bed any earlier than 8. Same for wake time. If you usually wake up at 6, don't do any earlier than 5, any later than 7, even on the weekends, 7 days a week if possible. Have a consistent bedtime routine. Try to do things around the same time, the same things, your bath, put on your essential oils, whatever you do it the same. This is so important for kids. This helps them get ready for bed, helps them get sleepy, helps them predict what's happening next. Sleep in a dark, cool room. Avoid exercise right before bed because it's stimulating. That's why exercise helps us feel good. So sometimes if you exercise right before bed, it keeps you awake because you're just like, oh. If you do suffer from insomnia, there are some natural things that you can try. Kiwi fruit, tart cherries, as far as consuming them, might give a melatonin effect. Diffusing lavender or putting some lavender essential oil on your wrists or on your pillow. And of course, avoiding stimulants. Caffeine, for a lot of people, can last almost all day and affect their sleep. Stress management is the last habit I want to talk about. Amit Ray said, if you want to conquer the anxiety of life, live in the moment, live in the breath. Relax and repair. Chronic stress affects adults and children, especially in our society. There's all kinds of things that kids have to worry about now. There's bullying in schools. They have these crazy schedules. And chronic stress can be harmful. It can lead to weight gain, chronic disease, increased infection, and mood disorders, just like sleep deprivation, the depression, anxiety, those kinds of things. And there's all kinds of ways to de-stress. You just got to find what works for you and for your family. So things like meditation or quiet reflection, journaling, coloring, which has come back in style. I have several coloring books and all kinds of cool colors. Just being in nature. Some people are able to really de-stress and relax when they get in nature. Play, art, creativity. Find what works for you and for your children so that you guys can de-stress together. Everyone needs downtime. You have to give yourself permission to take downtime. You can't be go, 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 go all the time. And make your chosen relaxation technique a required daily activity, just like brushing your teeth. It doesn't have to take too long. Meditation resources, cosmickids.com, like I said, has meditation and mindfulness. There's also some great apps. Insight Timer is a free app that has all kinds of guided meditations. There's one called Headspace, Calm, Omvana, the mindfulness app. Now there's so many. So find an app that works for you. There's ones that are geared to kids as well that they can use and learn how to meditate, do breathing kind of meditations and relaxation techniques. So those are the habits, but I want to remind you that change is not linear. So if you've heard my presentation so far and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do so many things, I have to change out everything at once, know that progress, not perfection. And sometimes you do great for a week or two and something happens and you may fall off. Just pick yourself back up and try again. Perfect is the enemy of good. You are aiming for progress, not perfection. So I want to know now, which habit will you commit to improving? Are you going to focus on eating more whole plant foods, practicing tuning in to your hunger and satiety, joyfully moving and seeing exercise as something fun and exciting rather than a chore to burn calories, sleep, or stress management? If you want to answer, go to menti.com and use the code 786437 and tell me what habit you will commit to improving. I know one that I need to work on because with all that's going on in my head, in my life, my sleep, I'm waking up between 1 and 3 a.m. and I have to get up and do stuff. That's not good. So I know that once my book is finished, hopefully I'll be able to relax again and not wake up in the middle of the night. So good. Some of you, pretty much everything. I'm the only one that answered sleep, so I guess I'll be the one there. But everybody has something different that they want to improve. So good job. I know you can do it. Just like I said, keep at it. This is what the cover of my book is going to look like. A Parent's Guide to Intuitive Eating, How to Raise Kids Who Love to Eat Healthy, will be out this fall. I do have a newsletter that if you sign up, it'll send you like this free guide. It's pediatric specific for kids. But if you go to your phone and text 66866 and text the word plantastic, PLANTASTIC, to 66866, you can get on my newsletter and get a free little goodie that you can keep as a PDF on your computer or print out for some things. So just like Faith said at the beginning, I do have a podcast called Veggie Doctor Radio, which focuses on habit formation, behavior change, motivation. I have plant-based nutrition information for kids at veggiefitkids.com. I also have that on Facebook and Instagram. And I own my own private practice. I'm a solo practitioner here in Yakima, Washington. And you can find more about that at nourishyakima.com. So thank you so much for your attention. And I think we have time. We have plenty of time for questions. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Yami.
You,
That was wonderful. Let me move this other screen out of the way here. Y'all know I'm not techie. Okay, so can you see us? Okay, great.
Yep.
I have a question for you, Dr. Yami. Well, actually, I think go ahead, ask the question.
Well, we hear a whole lot about parents trying to transition children into a plant-based lifestyle or even just a healthier lifestyle, right? But when children are very just animate about it, like, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to eat, what do you feel is the best way to get these children to make this transition?
I have the same recommendation for children as I do for life partners and spouses.
Okay.
And that is, don't force it.
Okay.
Like, sometimes what happens, especially if you have a teen, because, that's a time in their life that they're just like, they want their independence.
Yes.
Make the healthy foods, have the healthy foods available. Try to outnumber your environment, especially what you can control at home with healthy foods, but don't be pushy about it. Don't be preachy about it. Okay. And I always tell people, like, if they're in a transition, it's almost easier to not really say anything because sometimes people won't notice. You can just call something Mediterranean chickpea salad with, whatever herb, and people are like, oh, that sounds good. If you call it vegan salad, people are like, I don't want that. So be creative with what you call things. Don't mention that there's no animal products in there. Just highlight what's delicious about it. But I think the most part is just be an example. Kind of flood your environment with healthy foods. Don't push, and then just let people come on their own path. Because I think that whenever you have older kids, if you kind of shock them too much, they're like, and then it just becomes more of a scary thing.
Right. Do you feel that protein is a concern when parents are choosing to feed their children whole food plant-based? I hear that a lot, what about the protein and your calcium and how you going to get that, but should as parents, when especially because we have younger children, so they don't have a choice in my house. All right.
Yeah. But man, if I was your kid, I'd be super happy because I see y'all's pictures of food and I want that. But protein is not a concern. It's just not a problem. I don't know how we get so obsessed with protein, but has any of you people watching, have you met somebody with protein deficiency? I have never in my career, except for residency, when people have like chronic severe kidney disease, when they're actually peeing out their protein because they can't keep it in their bloodstream. It just doesn't happen. So as long as you're eating sufficient calories from a variety of whole plant foods, their protein deficiency is zero concern for me. Now, when it comes to other nutrients, the ones that I'm concerned about, like I said, are the B12 and the vitamin D. Calcium, you can get that from beans and greens, but really the best way to develop strong, healthy bones is through weight-bearing exercise. That's the best way. So from the beginning, make sure that kids stay active, they're using their bodies, which they are, they're naturally doing that. And then also we need to optimize what we take in, make sure that our vitamin D is not deficient, make sure that we're not consuming, caffeine and tea that can actually compete with the absorption of calcium, a diet that's too high in sodium. But really, if you're generally eating a healthy diet and you're getting weight-bearing exercise, you're doing a great service for your bones. So no, I don't really get concerned about calcium either.
Okay, great. Do you find in your practice, Dr. Yami, that children that you take care of that are plant-based, their weight is less than the average, based on the charts that you all use? And should we be concerned as parents when, we're told by our doctors sometimes that our children are below their weight?
So I feel very strongly about this topic, and it's something that I spend a lot of time covering in my book in both directions.
Okay.
I am not concerned about a child's weight if they are having healthy lifestyle habit. So there's kids that are going to be larger. They're
Right.
naturally larger kids.
Right.
If they're eating a predominantly plant-based diet, lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans, they're staying active, they're sleeping well, they're growing and they're thriving, I don't worry about it. If there's a kid that's very lean, but they have healthy habits, I
Right.
look at their parents. Usually the parents are tall and lean. That's just the way that they're going to be. That's not something I'm concerned about. Now, there is true medical problems that
Right.
can cause kids to have failure to thrive. But usually those kids are having other signs. They're not developing well. There's other things going on with them medically that might cause failure to thrive. But for the most part, I do not focus on body size or body weight, except to look at those curves, those trends over time to make sure that kids are staying along their trends. It's the habits that really I'm focusing on.
Right.
Awesome.
So key. So key. I think Destiny said she had a question for you, Dr.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you. Sometimes on the weekends, like if you're, for example, if I would go and I have kids and stuff like that, and if I have like I let the kids use TV, like what position do I let the kids go to bedtime, or what time can I let them stay up for a minute and let them go to sleep, or what time?
So you're
What she's-
saying,
Okay. She wants to know how much you can delay your bedtime on the weekends. Is
on the
really
weekend.
So I would say no more than 1 hour, Destiny. So if your bedtime is usually 9, then I wouldn't push it past 10 because
Wow.
it's going to cause problems in your sleep rhythms later. Okay, so that would be my recommendation. That's a great question. And I actually have somebody ask me a question on Mentimeter. They
Okay.
said, how many hours of sleep do kids need? That was on one of my slides. She says her daughter is 10. I recommend for a 10-year-old between 9 and 12 hours of sleep. And you can find, if you type in American Academy of Pediatrics sleep requirements for kids, the chart that I put up, it'll be up there for those of you that weren't able to see my presentation.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Awesome.
Well, something you said that is near and dear to our heart is that as parents, we are the #1 role models to our children, definitely for, healthy lifestyle habits. And I think that's key, especially if you're wanting your children to transition, we have to do what we're wanting them to do, so that's like near and dear to my heart because that's what we do. We believe that wholeheartedly. But do anybody else have any more questions? You got any more questions? I don't see any more questions here in the feed. Let me see. I don't think I see anything else. Dr. Yami.
Oh man. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
We are your biggest cheerleader,
Yes,
and we cannot
yes.
wait till your new
We
book
got
comes
your book.
out.
Yes.
A Friend Guide to Intuitive Eating, How to Raise Kids Who Love to Eat Healthy. Well, I know my kids love to eat healthy because
Yes.
if that's all they get, that's
Yes.
okay. I'm just
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
But but we thank you for taking time out on your
Yes.
Saturday to share this wonderful information with us. And when will your book be out again?
In September, it might be moved up a little bit, but definitely by September-ish, around there. So.
Awesome.
She
Well,
helped me learn that I need to go to bed at 9.
yeah.
Sorry, Destiny. I hope that wasn't bad news for you.
Like 2 hours.
Yes,
and
she
1
stay up
hour.
late on the weekends, but you've heard it from the doctor, right?
Yeah.
9 o'clock. All right, Dr. Yami.
You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a great pleasure. So much fun.
Yeah.
The pleasure is all ours.
It's so good to see you again, Dr. Yami.
Yes.
And thanks to everybody who logged on. That was really fun. I really enjoyed
Yes,
it.
thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you, guys.
So thank you, Dr. Yami. I'm gonna let you go. Everybody, thank you for joining us. This is Will and Faith will get to the root. And
Yes.
remember, healthy living begins where?
At the root.
All right.
Yes.
Bye.